Hi, everyone. Josh Rugger here in studio with the latest details on some major forecasting changes that are really going to impact your weather, not only this week, but for much of next week as well. Hope everybody's having a great start to your Thursday. I've got to make this a fairly quick weather live stream, but I had to do this because we've got a lot of changes to discuss. I did post a video forecast just now as well. If you want the latest details there, you can tune into that. But folks, we've got a lot to discuss right now. We need to get right to it. So let's go ahead and take a look at those temperatures across Northwest Arkansas and the River Valley. First of all, pretty easy to find the boundary right now. 67 degrees in Fayetteville. It is warming up quickly out ahead of this system in far northwestern Arkansas, especially in Washington County. But you jog a little bit farther to the north towards Benton County, it is much colder at this time. 50 degrees in Bentonville, 50 in Rogers, 53 at XNA, and 63 degrees in Springdale. So again, temperatures cooling off quickly in far northwestern Arkansas. Washington County, of course, that compressional warming going on right now, which is why it's so much warmer in Fayetteville. Now, the River Valley should remain fairly warm throughout most of the day today. 62 already in Fort Smith, 64 in Sallisaw, 60 in Boonville, and an incredible 72 degrees in Poto, Oklahoma. Man, if only I was in Poto right now. I love those temperatures. I wish we were holding on to that. But again, folks, we've got some cold air that's moving in right now. And I know the video's lagging a little bit. I apologize for that. We're gonna try to get that fixed. I think Dan was talking about that right now. He's going to try to get that fixed later on this afternoon. That's why I'm just going to the graphics right now so we can take a look at that. At least the graphics shouldn't lag too much as we're looking into them. But again, folks, temperatures are going to be cooling off quickly, and they may remain cold as we move throughout the rest of this week. I know we've been talking about the potential for a warming trend maybe on Saturday. I'd say think again on that front, because this boundary that's moving through the area is ushering in an Arctic air mass. And here's the deal about this Arctic air mass that's moving into northwest Arkansas. This is not going to budge as we move throughout the next several days. In fact, it's going to be draped just off to our south, meaning that shallow, cold air mass is going to be entrenched in our weather, entrenched in our area, and really going to impact things as we move towards the early part of next week. Now, first of all, this computer model is out to lunch because we're not seeing a whole lot of drizzle or shower activity right now. In fact, I'm seeing some peaks of sunshine in portions of Fayetteville, but it does give you a general idea of what's going to come down this afternoon, because right around lunchtime, 1 p.m., we're going to start seeing these winds shift off to the north and east over far northwestern Arkansas. Look at this. Temperatures in the upper 40s in Bentonville and Eureka Springs, still in the lower to middle 60s in Fayetteville, but you snap your fingers, that front moves to the area, bam, temperatures drop off quickly throughout the afternoon. By 5 p.m., we'll be in the upper 40s in northwest Arkansas, upper 50s to lower to middle 60s in the River Valley. Make sure you got that jacket ready to rock and roll, and make sure you're keeping it on you over the next few days, because temperatures should remain pretty chilly. Now, as we move throughout Friday night into during the early morning hours, you'll see here that temperatures will remain chilly. Lower to middle 40s in northwest Arkansas, lower 50s in portions of the River Valley with that easterly wind between 10 to 22 miles per hour. And I think tomorrow afternoon, temperatures are going to struggle to get out of the 40s. Now, I know this model is showing temperatures in the lower 50s in Fayetteville. I don't think we get that warm. In fact, I've got a high of 47 tomorrow now for the Fayetteville area. I think there's going to be a lot of cloud cover in place. That boundary is not going to be lifting off to the north and east. We could have some areas of drizzle here and there as we move throughout the day Friday, but Saturday is where things start to deviate just a little bit. Now, this model at 6 a.m. on Saturday has temperatures in the middle to upper 50s in northwest Arkansas and the River Valley with a southwesterly wind at 22 miles per hour. I'm going to move my camera right here. I know I'm glitchy, but I got to say this. I don't think this is going to be the case, folks. And Dan and I were talking about that this morning. We had an extensive phone call about the newest model data that's coming in. And I want to show you something here. I want to show you the NAM 12-kilometer model. And folks, I absolutely love this model for temperatures. There's a lot of things that this model struggles with, but one thing that it does very well are those temperatures. And it picks up on terrain differences as well, and just the quirks of our area as well. I mean, look at this. This is the current temperatures in northwest Arkansas. I mean, the model has nailed the current temperatures. You can't say the same thing for a lot of other models. And so the NAM is picking up on this modified Arctic air mass that's going to be in place over northwest Arkansas. The one thing we know about Arctic air, it is very pesky, especially in this section of the country, in our area, along and north of the Bobby Hopper Tunnel. It is a struggle for boundaries to lift back to the north. I mean, This system that moved to the area barely even pushed into southwest Missouri, and the models wanted to push it all the way up into central Missouri just a few days ago and warm us up quite a bit. So here's the deal, folks. Friday afternoon's looking chilly. That's why I cooled off the temperatures into the middle to upper 40s in northwest Arkansas and even in portions of the River Valley. Notice Friday night into early Saturday morning, temperatures remain steady in the middle to upper 40s. Now, Saturday, we'll try to see those temperatures warm up in northwest Arkansas early Saturday morning, but with this modified Arctic air mass, it's going to push that boundary south quickly. In fact, by the time we get to Saturday afternoon, you can see temperatures in the lower to middle 40s in northwest Arkansas, lower 50s in the River Valley. That is a stark contrast to the European and GFS model, which are showing temperatures in the lower to upper 70s. Folks, you're talking about a 30-degree difference between all these models right now. And I tell you, I think the European and GFS are way too warm, especially the European model. It's pushing that warm front in too fast, too quickly, and too far to the north as well. And I think this Arctic air, I think the NAM is onto something. I think it's going to be in our area. It's going to stick around in our area throughout the next few days. And it could set the stage for a more significant winter weather impacts for the early part of next week. So this is my modified forecast here. 47 degrees for a high on Friday, 49 on Saturday with the caveat that it's dropping throughout the day. And then Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, I may still be a little bit too warm right now. I'm trying to take it one step at a time here. We're still 4 or 5 days away from the event. So obviously we don't want to get too aggressive right now, but I think there's the potential for Monday, Tuesday, and especially Wednesday to be even colder than what we're forecasting right here. So this is something that we've got to watch very closely. Now I'm going to show you the GFS model. Actually, you know what? I'm going to show you the European model first because I just want to show you how out to lunch this model is right now. It is way too warm. This is Saturday afternoon, so obviously it warmed us up. It's finally cooling us off now Saturday afternoon, but it's got temperatures in the lower to upper 70s in the River Valley. And, in the River Valley, maybe that warm front lifts to the north, but I have my doubts about that, even in the River Valley. But for northwest Arkansas especially, I don't think it's going to get into the 70s on Saturday. Now, watch what happens on Sunday. Look how warm it tries to get in northwest Arkansas in the River Valley. Middle to upper 40s? I don't think so. I really do not think so, especially with that Arctic air mass surging to the south. It always pushes a little bit farther south than what this particular model is showing. And the European, for some reason, just kind of struggles with these Arctic air masses as they move into northwest Arkansas. And so it's got temperatures that are way too warm. Monday afternoon, it's warming it back up into the lower to middle 40s. I just don't buy that. And it keeps temperatures above freezing Monday night into Tuesday. That's why a lot of these forecasts that you're seeing out there, it has it in the lower to middle 30s. You open up your weather app. That's what it's going to show you. And of course, you're going to say, what winter storm are you talking about, Josh? What winter weather? It doesn't show it on my app. Well, that's because these weather apps are only showing one model run. Now, you can see here at the tail end of this, there's another system moving through, and we're going to talk about that too. But the European model struggles mightily when it comes to ice potential. And yes, this to me has all the signals of an ice storm because here's the deal. We're going to be in this southwest flow weather pattern across northwest Arkansas. When you're in that southwest flow pattern, it causes that Arctic air mass to be shallow. And I know I was talking about the air mass coming in maybe a little bit quicker. Well, that doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to be deep Arctic air. When you've got this southwest flow, when you've got this ridge of high pressure off to the south and east, it makes the Arctic air shallow, and it keeps it that way for an extended period of time. So anything that falls in this air mass will more than likely be in the form of freezing rain as we move throughout Sunday night, as early as Sunday night, into Monday, Tuesday, and maybe even Wednesday into Thursday as well, though the Arctic air could get a little bit deeper on Wednesday and Thursday of next week, maybe favoring more sleet. We'll see what happens. There's a lot of time for things to change. But again, this southwest flow pattern that's moving through northwest Arkansas, you see it time and time again. The models struggle with it so much, not only in terms of the extent of the cold air, but also in terms of the amount of precipitation that's located over our area. Now, the GFS model is not perfect. I'm not pretending like the GFS model is just some amazing model, but it does have a much better grasp, I think, of this particular storm system. Let me kind of show you what I mean by that. So notice Sunday afternoon. Now, envision in your head what the European model was just showing a few moments ago. We're showing temperatures in the middle to upper 40s on Sunday. The GFS has it in the middle to upper 30s to right around 40 degrees. That's a huge difference, folks. That's a 7-degree difference, and that's the difference between the surfaces getting colder, That's the difference between us dropping even more Sunday night into Monday, leading to freezing drizzle potential. It is a big difference because I do think there will be freezing drizzle Sunday night into early Monday morning, especially in the higher train of Northwest Arkansas. It will definitely be cold enough for that, and it will stick easily with temperatures in the upper 20s to lower 30s if the GFS is correct on that front. Again, take it with a grain of salt. We're still several days out from this event, but it gives you a general idea of what we're looking at. Now, notice as we move throughout Monday afternoon, the storm system moves in. Now, I'm going to go back just a little bit here. I want to go to Monday afternoon into the evening, right around 8 p.m. Notice how the GFS has temperatures well below freezing. If you go back to the European model, it showed temperatures in the lower 40s at this time. Again, a 7-degree difference between models. The European model, folks, I think just has too much of a warm bias, and this is why a 1 or 2 degree difference, even if it's borderline freezing Monday evening, is going to play a massive role on our weather. And I think it's probably going to be even colder than this in portions of Northwest Arkansas, truth be told. But notice how a lot of that freezing rain is moving into Northwest Arkansas, along and north of the Bobby Hopper Tunnel. The usual suspects, Madison and Carroll County, a little bit farther east towards Newton and Boone County. These areas obviously are going to see icing a little bit quicker than the lower lying areas of Northwest Arkansas. But you drop off this temperature by 1 or 2 degrees in Fayetteville, which I do think will happen right now, at least based on what we're seeing. That's a problem. That's a big time problem. And you notice in Southwest Missouri, it's also cold enough for freezing rain. Not only that, we've got another push of energy moving in Wednesday into Thursday that could cause even more winter weather potential in Northwest Arkansas. So, folks, this is a system that we have got to watch very, very closely. There's a lot of concerns there that the models are way too warm. What was picking up on this a few days ago was the SIPS model, the analogs. And I showed that actually yesterday when Dan and Peyton were out there at XNA. The SIPS was indicating that there would be a chance for freezing rain over Northwest Arkansas and the River Valley, even before the GFS was showing it, because the GFS was modeling mostly snow. Now, I know it might be kind of ahead of the game to show this. Usually I don't show these kind of maps this far out, but I do want to show the forecasted ice amounts that are being depicted by the GFS, because it just kind of gives you an idea. Even the GFS, which is being a little bit too warm, in my opinion, it may be onto something here. So I'm going to pull that up right now. Give me a little bit of time here. Here we go. So this is the forecasted ice totals from the GFS. This is the latest model run. And as you can see, it's got significant icing in the higher train of Northwest Arkansas. Now, you may be looking at Fayetteville saying, all right, well, is Fayetteville getting in on the action? Is Washington County going to get in on the action? Again, you saw the model. It was depicting temperatures at right around 34, 35 degrees in Fayetteville. You drop that by 3 or 4 degrees, and you're talking about major issues. So, again, take this with a grain of salt. This is a model run. This is a deterministic model as well. This changes every 6 hours. But it's been consistently showing freezing rain potential, folks. And I think the GFS, while not perfect with the setup, has a good general idea of what we could be looking at for the early part of next week. I really do believe that. It's something that we have got to watch like a hawk, because, again, it's all about these little differences. If we're too warm by a couple of degrees, it throws a wrench in the whole forecast. If we're too cold by 2 or 3 degrees, well, then it can also cause some problems. So, again, folks, a lot of things that we're watching right now. I wanted this live stream to be a little bit longer than what I'm going to make it right now, but we've got a lot of things that we're doing here behind the scenes right now. I've also got an appointment I've got to go to as well that I scheduled several days ago. But folks, just make sure you're staying weather aware. Dan Scoff's going to have the latest information coming up later on this evening. Again, I just posted a very extensive video forecast that you can find on social media as well. But I'm going to go back here just real quick, just in case people are joining in right now. And I'm just telling you, again, temperatures are going to be much colder than maybe what some of the other models are showing. And this is the NAM 12-kilometer model that I'm showing right now. But if I advance to Saturday afternoon, look at those temperatures. Much colder than the 70s, which is what some of the other models are depicting. And I think this model is onto something right now. So can we expect any highs above freezing to melt any ice before it causes damage, David? Certainly a possibility. Obviously, the impacts would probably be the greatest during the morning hours if what we're forecasting right now comes to pass. But remember, a lot of the times the models overdo the temperatures way too much when it comes to a setup like this, especially with the cold air already in place. The cold air is already in place. You can get significant icing very quickly in far northwestern Arkansas. So, again, we're watching it very closely. It's too early to talk about specific impacts, specific timing, specific accumulations as well. But there's a lot of things that we're watching very closely right now, and I am concerned. My alarm bells are going off right now for the early part of next week. So, Sandra, when will we expect ice? It's going to be mainly Sunday night, as early as Sunday night in the higher train of Northwest Arkansas. But I do think the main time frame will be Monday night into Tuesday morning, and then maybe a second surge of winter weather Wednesday into Thursday as well. So we could have two storm systems pushing through portions of Northwest Arkansas. So, Brendan, a little bit too early to get into specific amounts. But again, we're going to be watching it. We're going to be letting you know about it. But it's something that we need to stay weather aware of as we move throughout the early part of next week. Let's see here. Not excited about the word ice, says KT. I'm not excited about it either. Matthew says 5 inches of ice. I don't know about that, Matthew, but a little bit goes a long way with ice. I will say that. It just takes a glaze, folks, to cause big problems in this area. Big problems. We saw it last year with that one storm system, and we could see it again with this one, especially Sunday night into early Monday morning. I'm in Green Forest right now, and it's chilly and foggy. That's the boundary moving through your area right now, Brendan. As we speak, it's going to be pushing into Fayetteville within the next couple of hours or so, and then I think it's going to remain cold for the next few days. Are we talking about a significant ice storm, moderate or high impacts? Or Shannon, that goes back to what I was just mentioning a few moments ago. I know you had this comment at 10:19. But in terms of impacts, that is still to be determined. The general pattern, though, next week does favor freezing rain potential over Northwest Arkansas and the River Valley. If we do get winter weather, it'll fall in the form of freezing rain. And I'm getting pretty high confidence about that. So, Seth, you showed ice amounts. Are there snow amounts? So, Seth, with this shallow layer of cold air in place, tends to favor freezing rain over snow. Not to say that could happen later in the week, next week, Wednesday to Thursday. Maybe there's a more favorable pattern with deeper cold air. But as of right now, snow amounts don't look very significant at all in Northwest Arkansas or Southwest Missouri because of the air mass that's going to be in place. With that shallow Arctic air, we tend to see ice rather than snow. Now, maybe some sleet pellets will mix in. That could definitely help us out. If it's mostly sleet, then that would be much better. If this can be a deeper push of Arctic air, that would be much better for us. And that certainly could happen. Sleet over freezing rain has happened before. We saw it a couple of years ago with that one system that moved through the area. Remember, we were thinking maybe based off the models that there could be an ice storm in portions of the river valley, but there was more sleet. With this system, we're going to keep our fingers crossed that's the case. But right now, this has the look of freezing rain. Are we getting anything this weekend in Northwest Arkansas before Sunday afternoon? So just light rain showers, Anita. Light rain showers for the rest of this week. Some drizzle. Nothing major, nothing big, but a lot colder. That's for sure. A lot colder than what we're seeing right now in Fayetteville. Let's see here. How much ice has to happen for power outages? So, Brendan, anytime you get over a half inch of ice, you start talking about damage to trees and power lines. You can get power outages though with about a quarter of an inch of ice. But once you start getting over a half of an inch, it causes big problems with power. It causes problems with damage as well. It's too early to get into specific details on if we're going to hit that threshold. But I certainly would say that we are concerned. We are concerned for next week. That's for sure. Ice is definitely the worst. Ice is the worst winter weather type by far, bar none, no doubt about it. You don't want freezing rain. You do not want it. But unfortunately, that's the kind of setup that we may be looking at for next week. Now, John, I know, is wondering about next weekend and some Razorback baseball. And, John, I'll tell you this. I still think Friday is going to be much warmer. Saturday and Sunday, even warmer than that. So next weekend, actually does look pretty nice for some Razorback baseball. I do think there is the potential for some quick melting at the very least as we head towards Friday into Saturday. Yeah, Michael, I'm with you right there. We do not want another 2009 or 2010, which happened in Central Arkansas in Hot Springs. That was a big ice storm in my neck of the woods. I actually did some more research on that yesterday. I thought it was 2009. That was the big ice storm for Central Arkansas. That was mostly a Northwest Arkansas event, but in 2010, January 28th through 29th, 2010, we had major damage to trees in our backyard in Hot Springs, and it actually toppled over a massive tree in our backyard. And my dad was just talking to me about that yesterday as I was doing research on it. It wasn't 2009 in Hot Springs, it was 2010 where we had that major ice storm there. But for Northwest Arkansas, it was 2009, over an inch of ice in many locations. Yeah, I'm right with you, Olson. I want this cold air to get on out of here. I've been loving this warmer weather, and unfortunately, it looks like that's going to come crashing down next week. Taylor, does Rudy have an ice chance? Rudy, much less chance than Northwest Arkansas. This looks like mostly a Northwest Arkansas event, but I wouldn't count out the River Valley as well. The models are kind of flip-flopping with the River Valley. They are not flip-flopping with Northwest Arkansas. So keep an eye on this, and Rudy, if this Arctic air mass is much colder, that could cause some big-time problems. And I'm right there with you as well, Susan, in terms of the ice. All right, folks, I got to wrap this up. I got to go to my appointment. I really appreciate everybody joining in. Again, Dan's going to have another live update coming up later on this evening with the fellas. You can also watch my video forecast that I posted just a few moments ago. Kinsey, oh my goodness, I don't know who to root for. I'm going to tell you tomorrow. How about that? I'll have another weather live stream tomorrow, and I'll tell you because I don't like the Eagles or the Chiefs right now. That is for sure. But I'm going back and forth on who I want to root for right there. But anyway, hope everybody has a great rest of the day. God bless you. Have a terrific rest of your Thursday, and thank you for trusting your weather authority team.